Greetings! My name is Brad Hessel. I am chair of the Wake County Libertarian Party, and today is 3 November 2025. We are one day away from Election Day in Wake County. And for those of you who are participating in municipal elections, we do have some words of advice. So look below and you will see some specific suggestions that would be worth your attention. However, our attention is, to be honest, more focused on 365 days away from now than one day away from now. That would be the 2026 election day. And we are in the process of filling our lineup card out for our North Carolina General Assembly candidates at this point in time. And it's a big responsibility because we're kind of on a winning streak. Well, let me show you. So this chart shows the last four presidential election cycles, and for each one you've got the number of votes for Libertarian North Carolina General Assembly candidates. And as you can see, 2024 is the best. In fact, it's actually the best ever by a long shot. And it's not just our General Assembly candidates. Overall, we got 324,000 votes in Wake County for Libertarian candidates in 2024, which was by far an all-time record. It included a Soil and Water candidate who got almost 100,000 votes and a Raleigh City Council candidate who got almost 50,000 votes. So 324,000 votes is not a huge number in a state where there are, many millions of voters, but it's not a small number. It's a fairly significant number. And among those candidates, there were several who either achieved or came close to achieving more votes than the difference between their two duopoly opponents, which in that case means that in theory the Libertarian voters in those races may well have determined the outcome. Now, in that circumstance, you get attention from the political powers that be. And in point of fact, in the last 12 months or so, we have received more attention and had more discussions on policy issues and other related discussions with not just elected officials, but also with candidates and even some appointed officials than we've ever had in any previous year. And we've made some decent progress over the last 6 or 7 years in Wake County in terms of improving liberty. I'm not saying that's all due to the Wake LP, but we certainly have contributed to those conversations. But we're at a different level at this point in time. And of course, we want to stay there and even push further and faster. To do that, we need to keep putting up significant electoral numbers, though. And that raises a problem. Let me illustrate that. I've got another chart. So this is a little more detail on the last two cycles, 2020 and 2024, the last two presidential cycles. And you see the number of registered libertarians in the county. You see the number of NCGA candidates we ran. You see the total number of votes, and you see the number of dollars that we raised. And therein lies the rub. As you can see, in 2024, we managed to raise less than half the dollars that we raised in 2020. Now, the reason that we are experiencing this electoral success is because Wake LP have developed systems of support for our candidates that pretty much match, if not exceed, the level of support provided by the duopoly parties for their candidates. We have websites for our candidates that are at least as good and often better than one or both of their opponents. We have designs for yard signs and for door hangers for candidates that are active, and handle the production of those things for them, so they don't need to worry about that. We provide treasurers for our candidates so that their political committees are covered in terms of the reporting requirements that the state imposes on us, and the candidates just don't need to worry about that either. So, of course, that's not cost-free. So that's pretty much where the money goes. And in order for us to continue to put up impressive numbers, well, we really can't do that basically on half rations. So we are asking you to help us to keep pushing forward on the Liberty Front here in Wake County by making a donation to our 2026 Candidate Accelerator Program Fund, which is where we park the money that we use to support our candidates every cycle. And there's information about that below. If you make a donation of $50 or more to this fund as a thank you from us, you will be entered into a raffle for a couple of Hurricanes tickets to a game in January. We have a social outing planned. I believe it's going to be the 22nd of January. The Chicago Blackhawks will be in town. And if you win our raffle, you will be able to attend this game at no cost to you. You and a person of your choosing, you'll get 2 tickets. So please consider making the strategic investment. I will tell you that it's a good investment. I mean, if you look at the amount of dollars that the parties collect and the number of votes that they get, I think the Republicans, it costs them about 54 cents for every vote. The Democrats are like around 39 cents, if I remember correctly, 37 cents, something like that. Wake LP, we're spending 11 cents a vote, so you're getting a really good deal. So please do consider helping us move forward on that front. Another way you can spend your money effectively would be food banks. So you probably saw in the news that the federal government now is going to relent, and instead of cutting people off, the 42 million people that are dependent on food stamps / SNAP, they're going to pay half rations basically to those folks. So as you undoubtedly know, libertarians contend that private donations or private charities are much more effective than the public dole, generally speaking. Well, here's an opportunity for us to prove our theory, because in Wake County, in most places in the United States, it's not going to be feasible for private charities to pick up the slack of 50% of the SNAP benefits. It's just too overwhelming. They would not be able to scale up anytime soon to be able to cover that gap. However, Wake County has a very robust network of private charities, and they are already servicing tens of thousands of people here in Wake County. So the gap between what they're doing and what they would have to do to cover 50% of SNAP is not as big as in most other places in the United States. So we are providing a list of 3 of these organizations that we have worked with down below, and would recommend that you consider donating to one of those folks, or if you'd prefer to pick a food bank that's closer to where you are, there's also a link to a food finder application by another charitable organization, which is very good, and you'll easily be able to find something that is close to you, if not one of those 3 that we've worked with. So a little bit about October. Of course, the event for October was the State Fair. We ran for 11 days. Wake LP are responsible for managing the booth for the LPNC because we're in Raleigh and the fair's in Raleigh. So I spent a lot of time there. And it was a very successful fair for the party. We received close to 300 new contacts. We had a very fun Hurricanes ticket raffle at the fair, which is what gave us the idea to do one for our fundraiser. And the world's smallest political quiz was, as usual, a big fan favorite, fairgoer favorite. People were stunned, awed, impressed, entertained. But that was all good stuff. But what really impressed me was, we got a solicitation, the state party got a solicitation from the Forward Party, who were not able to get a booth. Forward Party's trying to get on the ballot in North Carolina, and they need petition signatures to do that. So they offered to provide some volunteers to us to help us staff the booth. And that was extremely successful because we had 100% coverage for the first time ever. Every single volunteer slot was filled this year. And it was remarkable how well the Forwardists stepped into the role of kind of touting the libertarian perspective when called upon to do so. They were always teamed with a libertarian in the booth. So that was interesting to see, and they were also able to collect signatures. They got, I think it was 250 signatures or so, or thereabouts, for their petitions. So they were happy. But what really impressed me was the reaction of the fairgoers, who were, I think it's fair to say, bemused to find two different parties in the same booth. But once they got past that, universally they were, I wouldn't say maybe enthusiastic would be overstating it, but pleasantly, the reactions were positive. I think that this environment that the duopolists have created, where there's such hostility in the political environment, I think it was refreshing for folks to see an instance where there were two parties that were cooperating. There's a lot we agree on with the Forward Party, and also they did endorse 3 of our candidates last year, so our relationship with that organization is pretty good. So looking ahead to November, we do have an event planned at Tobacco Road on Wednesday, the 19th of November. It's actually an event sponsored by Better Ballot North Carolina. They are a 501c who are promoting ballot reform, and this particular program is going to be about ranked choice voting. And there's a new documentary that's, I believe, premiering in North Carolina at this event. It's a 30-minute documentary on ranked choice voting called Majority 101. And then there'll be a panel discussion, and I'll be representing the Libertarian Party. There's also going to be somebody from the Green Party, somebody from the Forward Party, somebody from Common Cause, somebody from Better Ballot North Carolina, of course, and possibly some other participants. So mark that down, the 19th of November. It should be a fun event. Hope to see you there. By the way, speaking of meetups, there will not be a meetup on Thanksgiving week, as most folks are going to be headed out of town or otherwise occupied on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But I am hoping to see you at a meetup, if not on the 19th, some other meetup, or else, I guess the next time would be in December when we do our chair message video for that month. So hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and look forward to seeing you soon.